Skinwalker Ranch is not just a place, it's a problem that refuses to go away. For years, scientists have tried to explain the lights, the radiation, and the physical effects on people and animals, but the more they study it, the more it reacts back. This is now the most heavily monitored mystery site in America, with military-level sensors, underground scans, and entire teams focused on just one piece of land. Let's explore why Skinwalker Ranch became the most studied mystery site in the country, what recent discoveries have shocked researchers, and what they think might be hiding under the surface. Body. The ranch that watches back. Something is happening at Skinwalker Ranch that doesn't behave like anything scientists normally study, and the strangest part is how the ranch seems to push back every time someone tries to observe it. For years, investigators thought they were just documenting odd events, but the deeper they looked, the clearer it became that the activity was reacting to them in real time, almost as if the land itself knew it was being watched. Equipment fails when pointed at certain areas, signals change when they are analyzed, and even human reactions seem to shift in response to specific experiments. Why would a location respond to human attention? Why would its activity increase when scientists try to measure it? And why has this one stretch of land become America's most studied mystery site? Scientists now describe the ranch as a place that studies you back, and this idea is based on real patterns in their data. When the team sends radio signals into the sky to look for anomalies, the electromagnetic readings often jump in the exact same frequency they are using, as if the signal is being reflected or changed on purpose. When they place seismic sensors in the ground, the soil begins to produce rhythmic pulses, usually in a pattern of 3 beats, a pause, and then 3 more beats. These pulses repeat at clean, regular intervals that natural earthquakes or ground shifts do not normally create. Even more strange, this same 3-beat pattern has appeared in radio signals, air measurements, and sometimes in the body data of team members, such as sudden heart rate spikes or headaches that show up at the same moment as the ground pulses. Some scientists on the ranch now compare it to a sensor array, which means a system that both receives and sends information. Every time they change the settings on their equipment, the activity seems to adjust. When they try new tools to reduce interference, the anomaly does not disappear, but instead shifts to a different location. When drones fly into certain zones above the region, their signals cut out or flip polarity. In one test, a drone crossed into a specific area and every device connected to it lost connection at the exact same time, as if there were an invisible boundary in the air. These reactions happen too often and with too much timing accuracy to be brushed off as random chance. Most people think of Skinwalker Ranch as a UFO place, but strange lights in the sky are only one part of the story. Above the ranch, teams have recorded glowing orbs, fast-moving objects, and dark shapes that give off heat but do not look solid. Some of these objects bend the light around them, slightly warping the stars or the horizon behind them. Others only show up on infrared or radar, meaning they exist outside normal human vision. In several cases, heat-sensing cameras have shown dome-shaped heat distortions rising above the area, hinting at the existence of an energy source that cannot be seen directly. On the ground, the effects are even more physical. Some team members have suffered burns in strange geometric shapes that look similar to radiation burns, but without a clear source. Others have felt sudden waves of nausea, dizziness, or intense pressure in their heads, often in the same places where radiation sensors show strong spikes. Medical monitors have, at times, recorded unusual heart rhythms or stress patterns that do not match the environment around them, suggesting that whatever is affecting the machines may also be affecting the human body. Then there is the technology itself. Hard drives have erased data on their own without physical damage. Drones have dropped out of the sky without losing battery power. GPS and compass systems have spun or shown false directions in areas where no known magnetic problem exists. Pieces of metal equipment have developed unusual patterns of corrosion and cracking, sometimes forming clean lines or arcs that normally only happen in controlled factory settings. Cameras have also captured objects that appear for only a few frames before vanishing, but still leave behind heat or electromagnetic traces after the image disappears. There is also a psychological side that researchers find harder to explain. During intense testing periods, different team members have independently reported hearing whisper-like sounds or low vibrations at the same time. Others have had vivid dreams about underground rooms or glowing spaces below the surface, even though they never discuss these ideas with each other. Sensors that monitor body signals have shown increased fear and stress responses in people, even when they say they do not feel scared. Some scientists believe this could be caused by very low-frequency sound waves or strong electromagnetic fields affecting the brain, which might change how people think and feel without them noticing. What makes the ranch different from any other mysterious location is not just how much data is collected, but how the environment seems to react to that data collection. In most scientific studies, the subject being studied stays passive. Here, the subject appears to respond. The signals change during observation, the anomalies move when tracked, and the underground structures seem to resist being clearly seen. And now, one discovery suggests that the mystery may be far bigger than anyone expected. A land marked long ago. Scientists have now discovered that the strange signals recorded at the ranch today match stories told hundreds of years ago, and this has shocked the entire research team. They went in thinking they were dealing with a modern mystery, but the new data suggests that people long before us were describing the same events, in the same places, with the same warnings. This connection between cutting-edge measurements and old tribal accounts is unsettling, because it means the ranch didn't suddenly become strange in recent years. Something dangerous may have been active here for centuries, quietly waiting for someone to notice it again. For the Ute people, the area around what is now called Skinwalker Ranch has never been considered ordinary land. It was not treated as a place to settle, hunt, or travel through casually. According to oral histories, it was seen as a forbidden zone, a place linked to what they described as guarded gateways, meaning points where something could cross between worlds. Why would a community avoid a certain stretch of land for generations if nothing had ever happened there? Because, according to their accounts, it was never quiet, even when nothing was visible. They spoke about shadow beings moving across the land, watchers that appeared on ridges and vanished when approached, and strange openings that formed during certain conditions, especially when specific sounds or vibrations were present. These openings were not described as physical holes but as shifts, moments where the air or space itself felt different. Now, modern teams have recorded unusual electromagnetic changes and low-frequency sounds in the same locations and under similar conditions, which lines up disturbingly well with these old descriptions. For the Ute community, the safest choice was simple and clear: do not go near it, do not live on it, do not disturb it. Despite those warnings, the modern story began in the mid-1990s, when the Sherman family bought the property, believing it was just rural land in Utah. What happened next transformed the ranch into a national mystery almost overnight. Very soon after moving in, they started finding their cattle mutilated in ways that did not match any known predator or disease. Organs were removed with surgical precision, there was almost no blood at the scene, and the cuts were often clean and straight, as if done with advanced tools. They also reported large, unnatural-looking wolves that seemed unusually calm around humans and incredibly strong. Even more disturbing were the psychological and household disturbances that followed. Objects moved without explanation, heavy doors slammed on their own, and family members described feeling watched even when alone inside their home. The reason that their story got so much attention is because when investigators and journalists visited, some of them reported experiencing similar events, which made it harder to dismiss their claims as simple imagination. Eventually, the pressure and fear became too much, and the family sold the ranch, a decision driven not by financial reasons but by the belief that staying there was dangerous. That sale led to the next major chapter, when businessman and aerospace researcher Robert Bigelow purchased the property and turned the ranch into a private research site. He founded a group known as the National Institute for Discovery Science, later connected to a program called BASS, and for nearly 2 decades, his teams quietly studied the land. This was the first time serious scientific and technical resources were focused on Skinwalker Ranch. Bigelow brought in physicists, medical professionals, aerospace engineers, and former military specialists. They installed cameras, surveillance systems, radiation detectors, motion sensors, and underground monitoring equipment all over the property, running experiments under strict conditions. And what they observed was not just strange, it challenged many scientific assumptions. They reported unidentified aerial shadows that moved across the land but could not be tracked by conventional radar, invisible structures that seemed to bend light and distort camera footage, and biological hazards that caused skin reactions and illness in some team members. Their data collection systems were also affected. Files would corrupt or disappear. Equipment would fail only when pointed toward certain zones. Some of their internal reports described the phenomenon as using countermeasures, which in simple terms means it seemed to react defensively whenever they tried to gather information. This leads directly into the government connection, which is where things move from strange to serious. Parts of Bigelow's work became linked to a Pentagon-funded program called OSAP and later ATEEP, which focused on studying unidentified aerial phenomena and their potential impact on national security. Why would the US government invest money into this ranch? Because the events being recorded were not just ghost stories or local legends, but involved advanced technology interference and biological effects that could, in theory, have military or strategic implications. Their focus was not on proving aliens, but on understanding unknown systems that could disrupt aircraft, satellites, or human health. They studied how electronics failed during high-activity events, how radiation appeared without a clear source, and how space and time measurements sometimes behaved inconsistently. This raised serious questions. Could this be a natural geological anomaly with extreme properties? Could it be undiscovered technology? Or could it be something humanity does not yet have a scientific framework for? Now, this is where the debate becomes important, because not everyone agrees on what Skinwalker Ranch represents. Many scientists and skeptics argue that early investigations lacked consistent, repeatable data, which is a basic requirement in science. Some events were hard to reproduce, and that made them difficult to test under controlled conditions. Others say the anomalies appear to target equipment selectively, which could be explained by environmental interference, unknown mineral deposits, or even observer stress affecting perception. From this point of view, the ranch might be a combination of unusual geology, psychological influence, and coincidence amplified by media attention. But those who have worked directly on long-term monitoring disagree. Please subscribe channel.